The Latin Church is an autonomous SUIURIS particular church within the Catholic Church. There are 24 such SUIURIS particular churches within the Catholic Church, the others being Eastern Catholic churches. They differ from each other in liturgical rite, devotional traditions, theology, canon law, and pastors, but they all hold the same faith, and all see union with the Bishop of Rome as essential to being a Catholic. The Latin Church is the largest of these, with a membership far greater than all the others combined. It arose in Western Europe and North Africa, an area once encompassed by the Roman Empire, throughout which Latin was widely understood and spoken. It is sometimes called the Western Church. All the other SUIURIS particular churches, of which there are 23, originated farther east and are, therefore, collectively known as the Eastern Catholic Churches. Because of the population migrations, members of all of these SUIURIS particular churches are no longer confined to their areas of origin and can be found all over the world. Terminology: Church and Rite. The 1990 Code of Canons of the Eastern Churches defines the use within that code of the words church and rite as follows. Church: a group of Christian faithful united by a hierarchy according to the norm of law which the supreme authority of the Church expressly or tacitly recognizes as SUIURIS is called in this code a church SUIURIS. Rite. A rite is the liturgical, theological, spiritual and disciplinary patrimony, culture and circumstances of history of a distinct people, by which its own manner of living the faith is manifested in each church SUIURIS. In accordance with these definitions of usage within the code that governs the Eastern Catholic Churches, the Latin Church is one such group of Christian faithful united by a hierarchy and recognized by the supreme authority of the Catholic Church as a SUIURIS particular church. The Latin Rite is the whole of the patrimony of the distinct particular church by which it manifests its own manner of living the faith, including its own liturgy, its theology, its spiritual practices and traditions, and its canon law. A person is a member of or belongs to a particular church. A person also inherits or is of a particular patrimony, a rite. Since the rite has liturgical, theological, spiritual and disciplinary elements, a person is also to worship, to be catechized, to pray and to be governed according to a particular rite. Particular churches that inherit and perpetuate a particular patrimony are identified by metonymy with that patrimony. Accordingly, rite has been defined as a division of the Christian Church using a distinctive liturgy, or simply as a Christian Church. In this sense, rite and church are treated as synonymous, as in the glossary prepared by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and revised in 1999, which states that each Eastern Rite Church is considered equal to the Latin Rite within the Church. The Second Vatican Council likewise stated that it is the mind of the Catholic Church that each individual church or rite should retain its traditions whole and entire, and likewise that it should adapt its way of life to the different needs of time and place, and spoke of patriarchs and of major archbishops who rule the whole of some individual church or rite. It thus used the word rite as a technical designation of what may now be called a particular church. Church rite is also used as a single heading in the United States Library of Congress classification of works, Latin Catholic and Roman Catholic. At times, the Holy See uses the term Roman Catholic to refer to the whole Catholic Church that is in communion with the Bishop and Church of Rome. On his encyclical dated 26 July 1755, Alate Sant, Pope Benedict XIV used the term Roman as equivalent to Latin Church. Adrian Fortescue, on his article in the 1910 Catholic Encyclopedia, made distinction between Roman Church and Church of Rome. He said that the expression Church of Rome commonly applied by non-Catholics to the Catholic Church, but, according to him, it can only be used correctly to refer the Diocese of Rome, and the term Roman Church, in case of the Patriarchate, can be used as equivalent to Latin Church. A German Catholic is not, strictly speaking, a member of the Church of Rome but of the Church of Cologne, or Munich Freising, or whatever it may be, in union with and under the obedience of the Roman Church. Some Eastern Catholics use the expression Roman Catholic to mean Latin Catholic, while others are proud to call themselves Roman Catholics, and Roman Catholic sometimes appears in the compound name of Eastern Catholic churches and parishes. Distinguishing characteristics. Liturgical patrimony. The then Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger spoke on 24 October 1998 of the Latin liturgical rites as follows. Several forms of the Latin rite have always existed, and were only slowly withdrawn, as a result of the coming together of the different parts of Europe. Before the Council there existed side by side with the Roman Rite, the Ambrosian Rite, the Mozarabic Rite of Toledo, the Rite of Braga, the Carthusian Rite, the Carmelite Rite, and best known of all, the Dominican Rite, and perhaps still other rites of which I am not aware today. The most common Latin liturgical rites of the Roman Rite, or in an extraordinary form, the Ambrosian Rite, the Mozarabic Rite, and variations of the Roman Rite. The 23 Eastern Catholic churches share 5 families of liturgical rites. The Latin liturgical rites, like the Armenian, are used only in a single suiuris particular church. Disciplinary patrimony. Canon law for the Latin Church is codified in the Code of Canon Law, of which there have been 2 codifications. The first promulgated by Pope Benedict XV in 1917, and the second by Pope John Paul II in 1983. In the Latin Church, the norm for administration of confirmation is that, except when in danger of death, the person to be confirmed should have the use of reason, be suitably instructed, properly disposed, and able to renew the baptismal promises, and the administration of the Most Holy Eucharist to children requires that they have sufficient knowledge and careful preparation so that they understand the mystery of Christ according to the capacity and are able to receive the body of Christ with faith and devotion. Quote, in the Eastern churches these sacraments are usually administered immediately after baptism, even for an infant. Celibacy, as a consequence of the duty to observe perfect continence, is obligatory for priests in the Latin Church. Rare exceptions are permitted for men who, after ministering as clergy in other churches, join the Catholic Church. This contrasts with the discipline in most Eastern Catholic churches. Ordination. In the Latin Church, a married man may not be admitted even to the diaconate unless he is legitimately destined to remain a deacon and not become a priest. Marriage after ordination is not possible, and attempting it can result in canonical penalties. Bishops in the Latin Church are appointed by the Pope on the advice of the various dicasteries of the Roman Curia, specifically the Congregation for Bishops, the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, the Section for Relations with States of the Secretariat of State, and the Congregation for the Oriental Churches.